The recording quality may not be absolutely top notch, but for anybody who's interested, I thought I'd record a little bit of the process of turning the 2D badge art into a 3D model. We start by importing a canvas of whatever the picture is into a 3D modeling software. I'm using Fusion 360. That's our little flat 2D plane there. Go to top. Now I can use it to, normally this thing being an engineering software is select the plane we're working on, selecting on flat plane. Normally we do stuff like create regular shapes, normal circles and stuff. A lot of this stuff, because we're translating just art into engineering effectively, that's generally not the best way to go about it. So we have to do the closest thing we've got to free sketching in engineering software. Fit point spline sketches. So try and get that to follow the curve, which it's pretty good at doing. And then whenever it hits a point, I stop the curve following, and it creates a point. I may take some artistic license with sort of the exact shapes in order to make it fit a little better. That last point is slightly too curved. It meant the next one didn't curve. Okay, then if I make these a bit more pointed, that might work in my favour for this. Okay, so that then creates that little internal shape there, and yes, Toby, what do you want?
Well, everyone's fresh bedding on. Do you want fresh bedding?
Sure. Right. Mostly just a matter of fit point splines. Again, taking a bit of artistic license with exact shaping to make it easier to engineer. I'm trying to bear in mind the sort of issues that we'll run into in terms of losing a little bit of the fidelity when it comes to like the metal casting process. So all that texturing is probably going to be a bit lost on the final aluminium cast, but 3D printing should capture some of the fidelity. As you can see with like the way the fit point spline works around the edge, I'm going to have a really hard time capturing all the fidelity in like that texturing. But the 3 main lightning bolts running through, I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to do something with. I might edit this down in post a bit. Not keen on that curve. Okay, that's a bit closer to where we want. Put that in. Hang on. Zoom in a bit. There we go. Put that there. Put that one there. It's quite nice how it sort of curves, like fits its own curve quite well. doesn't necessarily follow the exact curve, but it's not bad. And even having turned snap off, it does try to snap to other points, because it's like, ooh, yes, Mr. Engineer, did you want this bit equal with this bit? Yeah, well, not exactly, but engineering, we can make it easier for it to make if all the bits fit together in this nice way. Yes, but it's not engineering, it's art. So, it's quite satisfying when it sort of figures out a curve by itself over a long distance. This segment here is largely sort of busy work to get the curve to fit. Oh. Okay, and then add another spline to there, there. It's when it comes to sort of the extrusion and chamfering, I might run into technical hitches. I ran into a few with the psychic badge, with parts not wanting to spline properly. No, I don't want that to fucking bend there. There we go. We want some points in this one, and so then we try and deselect, reselect, start again from that point, and bend round. So that then gives us the shape of the whole badge, which, because we've kind of left that bit there to attach to itself, should give us one nice solid piece to extrude. Having learnt a bit from the way we dealt with this on t'other one, rather than sketching all the lines on this layer, my best way is to sketch it. I can then rotate, extrude the solid. Now this bit, I kind of have to eyeball. 2mm about does it. Now, the reason it's 2mm at this stage and not 2 centimeters is because when I import the PNG file into the 3D modeling software, what we end up with is something that is the number of pixels across that the PNG file is in millimeters, and I then can't blow up the canvas because that then makes the pixels bigger than the millimeters, and we get all sorts of problems. And it just won't let me blow up the canvas. So I have to draw on this scale and 3D model it on this scale, and then scale up the badges after I've done all the modeling, which is why they're not all the exact same thickness or all the exact same height and width and all that. Is you'll see when I get to it, but that becomes sort of a matter of scaling in post. Luckily, what I've managed to do, and this is something I've set up in my presettings now, is set up so that my 3D bodies and canvases show through one another. They have, because normally if I turn one of them off, it becomes a solid body rather than a transparent body, and that's currently what the solid body looks like after the initial sketch and extrusion. If I then turn my canvas back on underneath, I can create a sketch on the top face, and I can start doing, because I will do more fit point splines, because basically what I want to do at this stage is cut the actual sort of gold trim into the badge itself, which I can do with the cut and well, it's a downward extrusion it works as, but it kind of cuts it into the top of the existing body. I could move that one a bit, or no, it's fine where it is. Bit of artistic license, fuck it. Curve and curve, and we've got a point there. So again, back to creating more curves. No, I'm going to have to put more points in there to show it what the curve actually is. I have to sort of account for the mathematics of the curvature so that it can translate the art into engineering. It's a cool process and I quite enjoy doing it, I'll be honest with you, but it's just little bits of accounting for what the maths will do and how we account for that as part of the drawing. The program itself is deeply, deeply clever. Can I get that to curve better? Yes, I can. There we go. That's it's a bit of a wonky curve, but I can probably fix that with sketch editing. I will see what I can do. Or no, it's fine. I'll sketch edit later. This is the big long interior curve. I've already told it not to snap, but it will keep trying to snap anyway. Okay. And then from there to there to, again, just following a little bit of artistic license in order to get the curve to actually fit better. That part of the outline is going to be a bit chunkier than it's supposed to be, but it'll do. Yes, I'm also screen recording it so everybody can watch, in case anyone's interested in the process.
Does it got a mic?
Yes, my laptop has a microphone.
Ah, cool. Hello everyone in the future. It's me, Aku.
Deselect, reselect, create straight line cut, and back to curves. I said, and back to curve. Thank you. That one's a bit too. And one from there to there. That looks about right. Sometimes the zoom in and out function's a bit jank on this as well. Less that it's jank, more that it's a bit awkward. Okay, actually create a curve on this. It does not like the curve that I'm trying to create. So I have to, again, take a bit of license and let it interpret the curve I want. There we go. That is bending the curve a bit more where I want it to be. Sweet, there we go. Reselect. Dink to there. Dink. To there, to there. To there. There's a nice curve. Dink. To there. Dink. To there. Oh, can I stretch it all the way? Will it create a nice curve? Yeah, that looks pretty good actually. Again, I can do a little bit in Edit Sketch if I need to. To there works nicely. Steaming ahead now. Okay. How's that going out? Yeah, that works. Nice smooth curvature. To there is pretty good. And to there, curve to there, curve to there. Bring the curve in a bit tighter there. Actually, I know that border gets thinner there, but it'll look better afterwards if we do it like that. Yep, and then final line from there to there. Okay. So actually, rather than cutting down, I think our best way is going to be if we finish sketch there, and then we go extrude upwards 0.25 mil and put it on join. Okay, so that ended up doing that, but that then I can go edit previous extrusion and go 1.75. That should leave that looking a bit more proportional. Yep, cool. And back to top view. This is where I'll want to cut in those other features like the eye. Thinking this badge I might be doing some slightly odd things in terms of the fillets and chamfers, but again, that's a later feature. I don't think, hang on, let's turn the canvas off so I can see how that looks at the minute. Yeah, I don't think we actually need to go back and modify the sketches too much. That looks pretty good to me, actually. That bit's a bit wonky. Which is the worst offender? It's the top sketch. Okay. Edit sketch. And the nice thing about the splines is I can just kind of pull them out like that. And just kind of bend the curve to make it what it needs to be. And then that will edit the hearts afterwards. Okay, finish sketch. There we go, that's a bit more on. That's a nice curve. That's slightly off. Edit sketch. Ooh, maybe that. Not as noticeable, although the way the points lie was not perfect. Maybe edit the top sketch and, yeah, overcurve that bit a bit more. Line it up a bit better. That should. Yep, there we go. That looks a bit better. Okay. Turn canvas back on. Still not too far from the original vision. Create sketch and just make sure top surface. Yep, so we're sketching on there again now. I want to cut in the eyes and these little bolt patterns here next. So I'll probably do that with splines again, I think. Some curvature to that. Bit of curvature to that. Reselect. Actually, to be totally honest with you, the slight curve there doesn't hurt. There, to there, there, to there, curve to there. That looks pretty good as a cut. This bit, I think I'm probably best off trying to cut in slightly differently, because I can fix it to a point on the body as a sketch. Like that, and curve round like that. Now let's see if that will work, or will I need to... I think I can cut that in. I've not actually tried doing that yet, so fingers crossed that works. And will I be doing that sort of on each of these? Because it sort of creates spines if I do that, which works quite nicely. Indeed, hang on. I might even be able to do it as sort of one continuous curve spline. See how this is coming out. No, that kind of goes outside of itself there. No. Do them in separate segments, it works better. Otherwise it'll go outside of its own borders, and we create a curve that doesn't necessarily work. And this bit, actually, we don't want the curve to start over there. Just looking at the little blue line interior, we want to kind of, oh, not that point, slightly out, and there, and then this last one. And we kind of want to do that and curve it back like that. That curves in quite nicely. That looks pretty good in terms of what we can do with this. Finish sketch. Now, can I extrude that down? Yes, it does work, because it sketches with the edge of the body. And I can select all of these. And I can sketch to minus 0.2. That would bring it almost all the way down to the badge, though. I'm thinking minus 0.1, sort of a subtle. Let's see. There we go. That's looking good. Actually not keen on how early those start, so let's edit sketch a bit here. Even if it is just... Aha, will it not let me shift that one? Bugger, I can't shift it off the point. That's fine, because what I can do, hopefully, because it's using a cut function, it will just not cut if it's outside, because it's got nothing to cut. So that should function nicely. Do that to just modify the curve a bit, Okay, finished sketch. How does that look now when we go back to our 3D model? That's better. They look more like fins or spines than they do just kind of... I think it was just a bit too much before. Didn't quite work. But that's looking good. Okay. So, with that done, I want to try and run those lightning bolts across it. Which I'm thinking I might do with more splines and try and raise it a bit. Yeah. Let's create another sketch. Oh, hang on. What's it done? There you go. Why did it do that? Okay. Let's do fit point splines again. Probably the most useful tool in terms of turning anything freehand into anything real. Okay, we'll start over here. Let this do its magic. Of course, this can all be edited later if we want to make it more jaggedy. I can always redo some of this stuff, but as it is, the sort of natural wiggly curvy thing should work quite nicely. And then, so if I do that, and then I do a matching one kind of next to it. just do a bunch of points, like pretty much dead next to the existing ones. Won't necessarily follow the bolt on the arc perfectly, but should create something we can work with. Okay, so if I do that, and I finish sketch, turn my canvas off so I can see it a bit better, try going for extruding. Okay, it won't let me do that, so if I go back to edit my sketch, if I just join up the lines, that should do it. Finish sketch, and now that's a joined up thing. Extrude that 0.05, maybe even 0.1. So that creates kind of a single bolt running across it. Which works quite well. I think we can go one step better. I think if we chamfer those edges 0.05, might have to do it even slighter, 0.2. Yeah, because we couldn't chamfer 0.5 because the parts cross. How far can we push it? 0.3 is about as close as we're going to get it, I think. Okay. That's all chamfered in. And is about as lightning bolty as we're going to get with that, I think. Getting all the lightning bolty texturing in might be impossible, but I reckon we can get another 2 lightning bolts on like that. Which should be pretty good. With the others, what I've done is filleted around the edges to create that sort of rounded look to make it a badge. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that with this one. I think I've got some ideas, but I will tackle that last because that's sort of a finishing touch thing. I'm just going to cancel the fillet operation out for now and carry on presently. So let's go back to top, put the canvas back on and sketch again. Make sure we're sketching on the face. I'll probably do them all as one sketch, or even actually, hang on, I can cancel out of that sketch. I might be able to edit my existing sketch because it's already on that surface. And that way, because I'm editing the existing sketch, it should just put my splines in place for me. That's a bit too. Okay.
Into the back room to get dried, so.
Okay.
If we fit the spline to there, to there, to there, and then there to there, finish that so that encloses that off, and do the same from here to here. We just reselect, try and follow the same issues again, do spline point again. To there. Again, creates another finished solid piece. Yeah, I'll leave that running the whole way through. So. We don't want it starting inside the eye, because otherwise that will do some weird things. I will leave that slight gap there. I have a feeling that when it comes to turning this into the final filleted chamfered thing, it's going to scream at me, but because a lot of these things might overlap with each other once I start trying to fillet the edges. So it might be a bit of a nightmare at the final stage, but let's see. Oh, now I have to reselect because it's trying to carry on the spline. And I want to do a sharp turn. Okay, and let's go for that last bolt running through, which actually starts up here. Goes to here, goes here, here, here. Reselect spline. This is a very wiggly bolt. So that a little close to the edge. There we go. And then we go and do this, and this should. I'm just going to try and trust the ability to draw curves. I hope this works, because this one's very wiggly. Okay, that could do with... No, I don't want to draw a new curve. Okay. That one's going to want some editing in post, because otherwise that bit's just going to have a problem when we try and do any filleting. But if we go do this last segment first, nope, not off the edge, because otherwise it's going to shout when we extrude. Okay, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there. Looks good. Nope. New line, not continue. Yep. New line. That's okay. So if we finish the sketch, will it try and extrude the whole sketch? No, it will not try and extrude the whole sketch. I will have to delete those extrusions and redo. Delete the extrusion, which will also delete the fillet, obviously. Okay, that's fine. Go for top. I might not try and fillet it, because I think that's going to give us more problems than it's worth. I think just raising it by a tiny amount should do it, although that one's a bit thick, so I am going to edit sketch. Still think that one's a bit thin there and could just do with that kind of modification. Yep, and it gets a bit thick there, so let's try and modify that a bit. That looks good. And that's a chunky lightning bolt that we're just kind of gonna trim out a bit. And boom, finished sketch. Okay. Now, I want to extrude a profile. Why will you not show me the sketch I've just done? I've got my sketch there. Do not show canvases, show bodies. Show sketch. Why will you not show me the sketch now? Okay. New problem. Which I have to try and figure out how to deal with, is I can't see the sketch. Why am I not able to see this sketch? Cancel. View sketch. Edit. Solid, extrude. Aha. I will do it while I'm looking at the sketch. Oh. No, just the sketches, not the whole face. Yep. Is that one not? Ah. Aha. That's why that tiny bit is just outside. So cancel extrusion. That dot there is just outside of the body. So the geometries did not function. View again. Extrude. No, cancel. Edit sketch. Solid, extrude. Why will you not let me? Oh no, that's why you won't. That's why you won't. Okay, hang on. Make those 2 points join up. Finish sketch. You top again. Okay. Once more into the breach, my friends. Edit sketch. Solid. Extrude. Good, I've not made the same mistake anywhere else. 0.1 millimeters, which will extrude them to there. Okay. So, turn canvases off and turn sketches off, just to see the body. Pretty good. This curve looks a little too smooth. Do I want to go and add more splines to this to make it more wiggly? Let's see what it looks like after a chamfer. Modify chamfer. .03. It can handle that. Can it handle 0.04? How about 0.5? Nope. 0.4? Nope. 0.3. It can handle that, so let's go with a 0.3 chamfer. Okay. That's pretty good. Some bits are thinner than others, some bits are thicker, but whatever. It looks kind of natural that way. I'm a bit worried it looks more wavy than lightningy, and I've forgotten a bit. Edit feature. Because I have forgotten to chamfer. I'll do it as a separate chamfer. I've forgotten to chamfer that bit. Modify chamfer. You want to try and do as many bits in as one go as you can, because otherwise you end up with technical issues later. But for now, that's probably the best we're going to get. Again, I could try and chamfer each piece separately in order to create more bits where we get that sort of as thin as possible effect on each branch of the lightning bolts, but either way, I can again work on this in terms of editing later. Let's see what we can achieve with what we've got. My main issue here is if we try and fillet edges like that, I think we're going to have real problems. Because they're too close to other parts. Let's see. Fillet. You from top. If I view what I see as like the body of this thing, again, if I try to do quite smooth fillets, as it were, like quite small and smooth fillets, it should smooth the edges out without losing any fidelity or causing any major issues, but it's probably not going to like it anyway because some of these parts are quite close together. Okay, 0.1. How does it like that chamfer? Does it? No, it does not like that fillet. But there's only one bit that doesn't like a 0.1 fillet. .05. Ooh, I think we might have just gotten away with 0.05. A few tiny bits at the edges of some of the lightning bolts that don't quite fit into play. Although I can edit some sketches to make things work out a little better. If I keep that inside there, finish sketch, it's got to recompute all the chamfers. Edit sketch just to keep the parts inside one another. I think if we do this and try and keep the parts a little more inside one another, we can get away with it still looking right without the without the lightning bolts coming off over the edge of the roll. Because if it comes off over the edge of the fillet, we're going to end up with more problems. Not in the 3D modelling stage, but in the actual making it stage. I'm wondering if instead... No, because then it won't fill it down properly. We'll have all sorts of problems if I do that to fillet it down. So this is probably going to be our best. Shot. If that goes to there, then that can go to there. And that can go to there. This can go here. That can go here. Maybe I can even work on making this a bit more wiggly while I'm here. Because I can... Yeah. It's not quite to the art. However, if I can wiggle it more, then it'll probably look better. Especially if I can make it some slightly uneven elbow goes. Okay, and last one to get this away from the nose. Now I don't want to move the whole line. Okay, so that. Finish sketch, recompute all the chamfers, because... Okay, and the chamfers are broken. Okay. Edit feature. Where's your problem? You can't chamfer there. That should be one of the widest parts. Two 5. No 0.02. Are we? Oh. Oh, I think I see. It's because of that curve that has popped up there now. Okay. So, edit sketch. If I make it curve that way instead, that will recompute that chamfer. Is that the problem? Edit feature. Where's the error this time? It's here. Because of another thing that I can see now. Okay, cool. It's because I've made it too wiggly. Cancel modifying chamfer. Edit sketch. That. Okay. If I wiggle it there more. That, maybe? Okay, so that fixes that one and chamfers that nicely. So it's just this one, and I need to edit that sketch. I can see where the problem lies there. I've just kind of over wiggled that fairly heavily. Also, why is that separate? That's just odd. Okay. Finish sketch. Compute chamfer. Excellent. Now, where's the problem with the fillet on this side? Because that was the... That rolls the edge a little. But I reckon we can roll that chamfer a little smoother. Sorry, the fillet, I mean. Edit feature. Now, why do you have a problem filleting that bit by 0.1? Of all the bits that you could have a problem filleting, it may literally just be because like the corners like that will roll over themselves. 0.07. 0.06. 0.06 is the biggest fillet we can get. It's very little difference, but when we scale it up, it'll be a little bit bigger and therefore a little bit smoother, so I'll live with it. Okay, that is looking pretty smooth. Don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty happy with how that's turned out. Yeah, it's Mike's badge, so at the end of the day I will send this off to you guys and see what you think of it. If you've watched this far in the video, thank you, because I've waffled for a while. Ta-ra.